Guys, today we're going to go through blending wigs to make them look natural, blending them into your hairline. The last video I did, I kind of just showed you how I put my wigs on, but I didn't go through the blending of the part. I just pretty much show you how I apply them, and I kind of slapped that one on. I didn't really do anything to the part. Today we're going to dig deeper into parting. So the steps I'm going to show you guys today, you can use on any type of unit: lace front, non-lace front, silk base, which is the one I am using today. This is Trinity by Freetress, and this unit is special because it has this 4x4 silk base closure. But even though this unit has it's very easy to blend, I still do the same steps every single time. So I just want to make sure I make that clear. And by no means is this the only way, the right way. This is just the way I do it. Alright, so the first thing you need to do is grab either concealer or powder. I always use a powder or concealer that is the same complexion as myself. I do not go lighter or darker. I use the same thing. I usually go for a pressed powder. I haven't tried with loose powder, and I've also used creamy concealers as well. But today we're going to be using Fit Me powder. I've used MAC. I've used this bad boy, which is I think Black Radiance. I suggest something cheap because it's going to be going on your hair, on your wig, so you don't need anything too fancy smancy. Just something that's going to add some color to the part. The next thing you're going to need is an angled brush like this, and it should be stiff. The stiffer the better. If you're into makeup, this is the kind of brush you would use to do a cat liner or even your eyebrows. It just needs to be angled and stiff. So you're going to go ahead and take the brush, dip it into the powder, and carefully just add the powder to the part. Now you can do this step with the wig on or prior to putting it on. Either will work. Another thing I always do is I make sure I get powder all the way, I take it all the way to the front of the lace. So every inch of the part has some of that powder on it. Once you do that, you're going to go ahead and put the unit on. Make sure if you're using a wig band that it is covering the wig band and that it's landing on your forehead. Okay, so at this point, I make sure that I have powder at the very tip of the lace, and that powder also kind of extends onto my forehead so it blends. That's the point. You want it to blend with your forehead. So once I do that, it's golden. So a lot of times when you get a wig, the parting is going to be a mess, and you're going to have to go in and manipulate it. No worries. You can use tweezers, you can use a razor blade. You can also do the pull method, which you can search in YouTube for. There's tons and tons of tutorials. But basically you want to widen the part so it looks more natural. And you could do that by eye, or you can do the same steps we just did by using some powder, putting it over the hair, the way you want the part to look, and then go through and pluck any hair that has powder on it. So kind of do an outline first with the powder, and then remove hair that's on, and remove any hair that is no longer needed. I would just say be careful regardless of how you decide to remove hair, because you can ruin your lace and possibly ruin the unit. So definitely take your time. Another thing I do with blending is I always have my baby hairs out, regardless of whether or not I'm using them or not. To me, it just helps blend. So after I'm done, I always go along my hairline and just do this, and anything that hangs out just gets laid down, and I think that does help as well. And that's pretty much it to blending, guys. I hope this was helpful. I know I kind of stumbled a lot through this one, but overall, if you have any questions, you can always ask me down below and I'll get back to you. But it's really, it just takes practice, and once you get it down, it will become easier and easier. All you need is powder. That's the key. Adding some pressed powder to the part or concealer, and making sure it blends with your forehead. That is the secret to blending your part. Be sure to check out the other videos in this series. I'm going to be doing tons of tutorials on everything wigs. So I will leave that down below in the description box and in the info card. And I hope you guys enjoy. Until next time, see ya.